Hey, Bill. We were working a tour back in the middle or late 60s, and there's about 4 or 5 of us on a tour up in Virginia. And so Grandpa and I were riding together, and, you know, he kept you in stitches all the time. He's just the most funniest man I've ever been around in my whole life. And we got in town, we checked in the motel, and neither one of us knew where we were playing. So we get the paper, and there's not anything about the show in the paper. We listen to the local country radio. Nobody said anything about it. We start looking for posters, and we start asking people, well, where we're playing. Well, finally, after a long deal about trying to find out where we finally found out where we're playing. And when we got there, and we had a pretty good impressive package on the show, and we got there and we didn't have any people hardly. And this promoter, you know, come up to pay us off, and he was griping about didn't have any people. And old Grandpa got right up in his face, and he said, son, you can't sneak in and sneak out of town and have a crowd.
I think there's a great Bobby Bear story about I remember this vaguely, about when you were booking with Jimmy Key. Remember that? And Bobby would only check in every now and then, every few weeks, I think, and nobody knew where he was. Anybody, Jimmy Key, you could probably tell this better than I can. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Paducah.
Yeah.
Tell us about Paducah. Paducah, Kentucky. Yeah. Well, I was booked in Paducah, and Jan hired. I think you were on the show, too, booked there. Anyway.
But I checked in.
Yeah, you checked in. I drove to Paducah to do the show, and it's for a radio station there. And I didn't see anything, no advertising, no nothing. And I checked around. Finally, I got a hold of the radio station, and I said, where's the show? Because I've been to the venue and nobody there. I said, oh, that's next week. I showed up a week early. I said, well, I can't make that one.
Wasn't there another time where the place had burned down?
Oh, yeah, down in Texas.
You didn't check in again.
I didn't check in. I was driving. Actually, we were driving in the band from Albuquerque to Lubbock. And it was the Club 87, Bill. You probably know that, down there on the circle. Oh, yeah. Well, we drove all day and all night from Albuquerque, and we pulled up. It was almost showtime. And we drove by the address at least 5 times, and I said, this has got to be the spot. And we pulled in. There was a building that was gutted out. Called the promoter. He said, oh, hell, that place burned down last night. I said, nobody told me about it. We didn't do a show that night. But I have a grandpa story. Sam, we were talking about that a while ago. Sam was doing a show. We were filming a TPAC TV special, and it was about all the stars of the Grand Ole Opry who had died. And some writer had cleverly written songs about Tex Ritter and Hawkshaw and Patsy. And Sam had everybody in the world on the show. It was me, Minnie, Grandpa, George Strait, Pat Boone, Dottie Will, everybody. Well, I was doing my TV show at the time, and I couldn't be there until about 7 o'clock at night. And I said, well, it's only going to take about an hour. Well, at 4 o'clock in the morning, we were still there trying to do a finale. Me, Grandpa, Minnie, everybody were standing on this little riser trying to sing this song about people in the Grand Ole Opry who had died. And I turned to Grandpa, and he was standing right beside me, and I said, how you feeling, Grandpa? You holding up all right? And he said, if they don't hurry up and get this done, they're going to have to write one of them songs about me.
You had a story, Bob? I was just always amazed at how funny Grandpa thought all the time on the spur of the moment, you know. Jerry Bird took him to his cleaners, and the guy had just remodeled the cleaners, and he said, come on in, Grandpa. Grandpa said, no, I don't want to go in. He said, come on and go in with me. The fellow's just done a real nice job of remodeling his cleaners here, and he'd like to show it to us. Grandpa said, well, there is one thing I'd like to see. I would like to see your button crusher.
We are getting together and we're sitting down and singing and joking and having fun, and it's a pure delight.
It's the Country's Family Reunion Collection with over 16 hours of laughter, songs, stories, and more.
Just walk on by.
I'm a walking bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
Now available for the first time on 9 DVDs or 9 VHS tapes. The Country's Family Reunion Collection contains over 16 hours of entertainment with 50 of your favorite country music legends.
I found my cow, and he said, where was she? And I said, in the ice box.
That's 50 of your favorite country music legends, sharing stories and laughter and 130 great performances.
All the chapel bells were ringing.
The day my mama started to the Hopper Valley preaching.
Yeah, that good old mountain dew.
The Country's Family Reunion Collection features your favorite country performers, plus several who haven't performed in many years.
And everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John.
She's traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.
You'll get all the great stories.
I ain't never got fresh with you a day in my life.
Plus all the great songs.
And all I gotta do is act naturally.
That's right, for just 4 payments of $29.95. If you tried to buy these separately, it would cost you $350. But through this special offer, the entire 9-volume set can be yours for just 4 payments of $29.95. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of country music history.
2, 3, 4. All I gotta do is act naturally.
Order today by calling